What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. With the announcement of House of the Dragon, which of course, guys, is a spin-off of Game of Thrones, a prequel at that to Game of Thrones, one of the biggest, television series of all time. And I want to talk about everything that we know so far about this title, something that I'm really excited about, guys. I wasn't a huge fan of Game of Thrones, or I should say as much of a fan as some people were. However, I'm very excited to see where they go as far as how this fits into the ecosystem, the legacy, the lore, the story of Game of Thrones. And so with that being said, I want to go over, like I said, everything that we know right at this point in time about House of the Dragon, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. In an article, guys, written by Debbie Day of Rotten Tomatoes, from the main characters and key locations to the showrunners and potential plot points, here are the details you'll want to know about the George R.R. Martin creative spin-off series. So Game of Thrones prequel series House of the Dragon released a new teaser trailer in October that provides glimpses of its stars. HBO had most recently announced new cast and released first look images of the 2022 series biggest stars in May. The series is based on author George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire book series and its companion materials, and is set primarily in Westeros during a time of great political upheaval. Set 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones, the series tells the story of a turbulent period for House Targaryen, one that sets sibling against sibling and dragon against dragon. The point of contention: who should rule on the Iron Throne? So, Dangerous Women includes what press materials describe as a 35,000-word novella by Martin called The Princess and the Queen, or The Blacks and the Greens, which is about the dance of the dragons, the vast civil war that tore Westeros apart nearly 2 centuries before the events of Game of Thrones. So first of all, guys, this being a prequel, I love this. I think that the Game of Thrones universe as a whole, what we know of it is, obviously, they made a number of seasons of Game of Thrones, and I thought that was awesome. The cool thing, though, about Game of Thrones is I feel like this, the story as a whole is very vast. There's so many different directions that they could go in if they wanted to do a prequel or a sequel potential, if George R.R. Martin wanted to continue that, but wanted to do a prequel. And I love this, that they're going to continue building upon what they started with Game of Thrones, that legacy, that lore, the story, as what I was alluding to earlier, of Game of Thrones as a whole. And so I absolutely love that they're continuing to do that here. Now, obviously, guys, George R.R. Martin is the one really helming this entire, prequel to Game of Thrones. His handprint is going to be all over this. Make no mistake about it. Obviously, guys, a lot of the actors and actresses that are going to be in this upcoming, story is something that I don't know a lot of. I do not know a lot of the actors and actresses in this. However, I will tell you that I'm pretty excited to see all of the entire cast and the entire, crew as to what it is they put together here in House of the Dragon. So, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this, guys. What is the release date is the big thing, big talking point for a lot of people. Well, a video teaser for HBO Max confirmed in December. The House of the Dragon will be released in 2022. The teaser shows only a dragon roaring fire and a new glittering gold logo. Dragons are coming. House of the Dragon begins production in 2021 is what was tweeted from the official Game of Thrones Twitter account. What I will say is this, guys. Obviously, it's in production at this point in time, okay? It's definitely in production and has been now. And what I will say is that it's planned on coming out in 2022, which is awesome. This is going to be something I'm really excited about. We're going to be able to sink our teeth into it sooner rather than later. Now, it being 2022, it's hard to tell whether they're going to be, later in 2022 or early 2022. If I had to guess, I would say late 2022. So, when it takes place, The Targaryens landed on Dragonstone more than 4 centuries before the events of the original Game of Thrones series. The Dance of the Dragons was a war of succession fought from 129 to 131 AC, that is, after Aegon I's conquest of Westeros. What's the big conflict? The Targaryen Civil War was a conflict and the system of inheritance by a firstborn child, often the firstborn son. A lord's first child will inherit this castle and lands of his or her father over an older sibling, no matter what his or her aptitude for governance compared to a sibling's abilities. The Targaryens generally followed primogeniture, though there were expectations or exceptions, as during the rule of King Jaehaerys. I'm so bad, guys, with names. Obviously, when it comes to Game of Thrones and the mythology and everything that goes behind the scenes here, I'm not very good with the names. But there definitely seems like there's going to be conflict. And then, guys, as far as the characters go, tons and tons of characters, lots of new characters, which is really exciting. And what's interesting is the locations. This is a talking point for a lot of people in the community. Talking about, King's Landing, Dragonstone, Driftmark, Dorne, Old Town Lies, the Stepstones, and Harriel. And all of those different areas that we're likely to see is something exciting, because some of those areas we're going to be able to explore more of and understand a little bit better as House of the Dragon continues. And so, look, guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest and the most, excited you could be for this, I gotta tell you, I'm pretty close to a 10 right now. I'm really excited for this continuation, even though it's more of a prequel than anything. How it's going to tie into the overarching story of Game of Thrones is something I'm really excited to see, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about House of the Dragon up to this point, what you've seen, and what are you most excited to see in it at some point or another in 2022? Let me know, and for more House of the Dragon content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Fortnite and this title, guys, what it's done for gaming as a whole and where it could be going in the future. And I want to talk, guys, in this segment of the show about Fortnite and a Fortnite sequel. Should that be something that Epic Games thinks about or something that they consider doing at some point in the future? And we can break that down, and I would love to hear your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So, guys, let's talk about Fortnite. Obviously, we've talked about this title quite a bit on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of my Fortnite content here. And that being said, though, should Fortnite get a sequel, a Fortnite 2? One of the reasons why I've said, that Fortnite, maybe not necessarily having a sequel, but having a way in which you could play the different iterations of the map. So like when Fortnite first came out, if we were able to play that really old school map and drop down back, with tilted towers and all these different, areas in the first editions of what we saw, that being the Fortnite map, and as it's evolved, those are all just different maps you can play on. Now, the question lies is, would Epic Games want to do that and split up the fan base upon different maps and things of that nature? I feel, though, having a way that you could go back and play some of those old renditions of the map would be really, really cool. So the question lies in, do you need a sequel in order to do that? I don't believe you do. I think that they could easily, easy enough, I would say, even though I don't know anything about coding, I would say that if they could make it so that we could play multitude of different maps and things of that nature. Obviously, they've made different modes that you can play on the map itself, but it's consistently evolving and adapting over time. And I feel like one of the things that really hurt Fortnite was it was trying to change things up a little bit too quickly. And that being said, though, a lot of people loved that they would change things up pretty consistently, and it kind of kept things fresh. So for me, would you need to make a sequel in order to do that? I don't believe so. That being said, though, one of the things that I've been critical of with Fortnite is not so much that I think that the BR side of it is not good. I think the Battle Royale, they basically made BR what it is today, this massive juggernaut of a game mode, and that's awesome. But what I will say is that I feel that Fortnite has kind of not evolved in other ways, like having a full-blown story mode, even though Save the World is kind of a, a starting point there, but I would say having not really a story mode, not having other multiplayer modes and having other ways in which you can connect with this title outside of the BR, really, for the most part. I would love to see them have a concept where there's like smaller maps you can play PvP or you can play PvE, and having, you know, a multitude of different maps. So like if you don't want to play the Battle Royale side of Fortnite, you can play Team Deathmatch, but it's like on different maps, like maybe smaller maps, things of that nature. I think more variety to what they're offering right now would be really cool. Now, would you want to introduce that in Fortnite, or would you want to introduce that in a Fortnite 2? Now, if you're going to start adding new modes and different new maps, I think that you would want to have a sequel for something of that nature where you would have different maps and all of that, just because they would be able to promote it as, hey, this is Fortnite 2, this is what we're doing. You're going to still be able to play the BR, but we're also going to be adding other game modes that are going to have different maps attached, smaller maps, larger maps, things of that nature. I think would be something really interesting to see. Now, do I think it's likely, guys? Probably not. Most likely they're going to continue doing what they're doing because it's made them so much money at the end of the day with Fortnite. They're just going to continue to change things in different ways of the map that they have, create more characters, different, you know, outfits and skins and all of those things. I would say they're just going to continue doing for the foreseeable future. They'll probably make or continue making new game modes, but on the map, on the same map, not, you know, create new maps altogether and things of that nature. I would love to see it. I just don't think that it's something that's going to happen. I would love to see, though, at some point or another in the future, guys, I'd love to see Fortnite 2. I think it would build upon the legacy, the lore, the story of Fortnite as a whole. If you create a full-blown campaign, co-op modes, multiplayer modes, BR, you had all these different things as a whole to really support that story, support everything that they're trying to do in Fortnite, even though they've been incredibly successful, guys, without question, with just Fortnite. I think if they wanted to expand upon it and kind of breathe fresh life into Fortnite, you create a sequel, and that could be something really special. But I would love to hear your thoughts about it, guys, in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you think that they should make a Fortnite 2, a Fortnite sequel, or do you think they should just stick with what's working, that being Fortnite, and just continue, you know, evolving the map over time, adding new skins and things of that nature? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Fortnite content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. So Keemstar is quitting, guys, and I know there's been a lot of folks and a lot of talk about this in the community regarding, you know, why is he retiring? Is this actually going to be him quitting or retiring, or is it going to be, you know, a combination of a number of things? Is he actually going to go through with it? Is he going to come back? What is actually going to happen here? And guys, I want to talk about why I believe that Keemstar quitting is actually a bad thing for the ecosystem of what it is here on YouTube. Now, sure, guys, look, when it comes to drama channels, you know, it's one of those things. The way I look at it is that drama, you know, I'm not really one that, you know, likes drama too much. I kind of try to stay away from it as much as possible. But with that being said, I believe that there is definitely a place for it here on YouTube, because on YouTube and really anywhere, guys, narratives and, you know, different storylines as they're going on, it creates some really interesting elements to the story, right? For an individual, personality, a celebrity, whatever it is. You look at the NFL, they've got all these narratives, all this drama that's going on potentially behind the scenes with a specific team or another, and, you know, that word gets out and it just creates these narratives, all these storylines. And Keemstar did a really good job of creating these stories and and different narratives around personalities here on YouTube. And without that being there, it's actually really not a good thing for YouTube as a whole. Now, I know that he's planning on passing the torch on to someone else who is going to take, you know, Drama Alert by the reins and try to move this thing in the right direction. But, you know, obviously Keemstar as a personality, I mean, it's really tough to replace someone like Keemstar. So I feel that the next person, whoever that may be, that they're going to get to helm Drama Alert has got to be somebody who's really going to take this thing to the next level, without question. And I think that Keemstar certainly has probably his eyes on a number of different people that could potentially take over and do a really good job. But One thing I'm really happy about is that he's not planning on shutting down Drama Alert anymore because of the YouTube algorithm and things of that nature. No, he's planning on continuing it. It's just in a different way where he's not going to be front and center on the camera all the time. And, you know, I respect it. I really do. I respect that he's going to move away from it, kind of be more so behind the scenes, not so much, you know, front and center. He'll probably have other ventures and other things that he wants to do out of, you know, just out of life in general, some of the ventures that he wants to take on. And I really do like this, right? Obviously, Keemstar is a polarizing figure in the community, but I think that every person plays a specific part in the entire YouTube ecosystem, and he played a pretty big part in drama and news and things of that nature. Everyone plays their part, right, in making this thing kind of as a machine that YouTube is continue moving forward. And I think that drama is a part of that, guys. It is a part of narratives, storylines. It's a part of, you know, what really makes stories sometimes really interesting, you know, all the different things, you know, from positives to negatives, the highs, the lows, all of that stuff is covered within the news and on YouTube. It wasn't so much something that lots of people were doing until Keemstar with Drama Alert and channels like that really started putting a spotlight on different personalities, celebrities here on YouTube. And so I gotta tell you guys, him leaving the scene is actually, a lot of people are really glad that he's retiring and moving away from being the front and center of Drama Alert. I think, though, that there's going to be some negative ramifications of that. There, you know, sure, maybe there's going to be a lot more positives than negatives, but I, you know, still feel that him leaving the scene altogether, for the most part, just being totally behind the scenes of Drama Alert, I just don't think that's going to be really good for the community. Now, he does Mom's Basement with FaZe Banks, which I think is awesome. Hope they continue doing that as time goes. And hopefully, I'm excited to see kind of what he does as far as his other ventures and such moving forward. I'm excited to see it, guys. And obviously, you know, at some point or another, some of these YouTube creators are going to be passing the torch on to onto others. You know, maybe not going to be them all the time. It's going to be at some point or another. They're going to pass the torch on to someone who they feel is going to be good enough at just, you know, continuing their legacy and continuing what they built and what they started with Drama Alert. And, you know, it's been one crazy ride for Keemstar for sure up to this point, but I'm excited to see what he does next. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts about this, though, in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about Keemstar retiring, quitting, whatever you want to call it? What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more news and content, stay here with Zero TV. You guys know that I love FaZe. FaZe Clan is one of my favorite esports teams, and we talk about FaZe a lot when it comes to, you know, just on the YouTube channel. I've made so much FaZe content when we were going for the FaZe 5 recruitment challenge, and I want to continue talking about that because there are some massive news, guys, that a lot of you probably already know by now. FaZe Clan going public. I want to talk about the ramifications of this, what this means for esports as a whole, and just for gaming teams in general, like how this is going to really transcend the space and move us into the next step towards being something that is fully sustainable and something that could just last forever, essentially. So let's talk about it, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. This, guys, is coming to us, an article written by Jordan Ashley of esports.net. FaZe Clan has risen over the years to become one of the biggest and most well-known esports teams. They've seen success in a good number of titles and built a healthy roster of content creators. Those who own FaZe are currently hoping these achievements are enough to justify a pretty high valuation for the company. So FaZe Clan is becoming a publicly traded company. If you're relatively new to investing in esports, then this could seem like an attractive opportunity. FaZe Clan is one of the biggest esports teams, and a public offering allows others to invest in them. A private traded company is one that is owned by private individuals that can be the founders of the company or those who have made private early investments. However, a publicly traded company has stock issued. This means people can purchase a share of the company to own a specific portion. So let's put it this way, guys. Yes, I've started to invest in FaZe. The ticker symbol is going to be changing over to FaZe, which is really exciting. I have started investing in this, and I get that there's a $1 billion valuation, but I believe, guys, that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry right now, and we're not even seeing like the tip of the iceberg yet, in my opinion. I believe that this is going to be something that could be $10 to $20 billion of a valuation for these teams in the years to come, right? I mean, $1 billion valuation, that's a lot of money, guys. And you look at like NFL teams, and some of these NFL teams, you know, obviously they're worth more than $1 billion, but we think of other, you know, traditional sports and things of that nature, whereas esports is global, whereas traditional sports are usually in a specific area or region, you know, baseball, basketball, football. You know, American football is American football, right? Then you have soccer, which is more worldwide. What I'm getting at here is that FaZe and what they're building is a global ordeal, so that's how they're trying to justify really the valuation that they're putting on it, that being $1 billion. So which is pretty interesting, guys. Now, it's been something that a lot of people are talking about. So one of the first things that jumps out about this particular public offering is the valuation of the stock. FaZe Clan is launching with a valuation of $1 billion. This is a high valuation for an esports team. The big price tag for the value of the company and the reason behind it can shed some light on how FaZe Clan going public is progressing. So, FaZe aren't using a traditional IPO to go public, but a SPAC. An IPO is the standard way of taking a company public. Here, a set number of shares are issued, and the issuer completes a valuation which reflects the potential of the company. This isn't a perfect way to do it, and IPOs are often criticized for their pricing. However, in general, it puts the value of the company down to a third party to decide. FaZe Clan is using an SPAC to go public. This means that they're establishing a shell firm which will trade on a stock exchange and then merge with FaZe Clan. This allows them to go public at a price tag they've had more input in, rather than it being a more objective value. So why is FaZe valued at $1 billion? If you're relatively new to investing, then the FaZe Clan valuation might seem pretty normal. However, the method they've gone through to list at that price instead of an IPO should sound alarm bells. This valuation of FaZe Clan is based on the assumption of incredible growth for the team in the future. This isn't uncommon in today's stock market, where values are historically inflated. However, it is worrying and reflects poorly on FaZe Clan. Early investors should wary of this high valuation, consider waiting until FaZe Clan stock price more accurately reflects valuation rather than the number they chose to raise funds at. So I totally get where some people are really concerned about it. Whereas for me, guys, I feel that, you know, in the next, when I invest for the long term. I do not look to invest in something and then just sell after, you know, a couple of weeks or a couple of months or even a couple of years. I'm looking at a number of years down the road. And I feel that even if you want to say that valuation is pretty high, which it is high, guys, without question, it's a high valuation. But if you look at it from a long-term perspective as to where esports as a whole is going, I think that you can think to yourself that where is this going? Because for me, I look at it as, yes, it's $1 billion valuation, but where is it going in the next 10, 20 years? That's what I look at, and I believe that it's going to be worth more than $1 billion in, you know, sooner rather than later, guys, and I think it's going to exceed those expectations in the next decade or 2 decades. But only time will tell. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. What do you guys think? Do you think that FaZe going public, do you think, like, I mean, what kind of ramifications do you think this is going to have? I think that this could create, you know, more and more teams to actually think about going public at some point to try to raise more money that they can utilize for their esports teams, for consumer products, for just everything in that stratosphere. Who knows what exactly FaZe is thinking here as far as from a perspective of how they're going to use the money, but I would say that they're looking at trying to, you know, pay the best out of, out of any team when it comes to paying their players, their creators. All of those things really take a huge effect, and I think FaZe has been, you know, kind of they've been raising the bar consistently, but they're also have been at the top where they're the ones continuing to try to innovate, which there's a number of other teams that are trying to innovate as well. But what I'm saying is that FaZe has been at the top. They're continuing to try to raise the bar as other teams are trying to catch up. They're trying to continue staying ahead of everyone else. It'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. What do you guys think in the comment section down below? And for more content like this, guys, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.